Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I am Ryan Boland. Thank you all for joining me. In this video, what I want to talk about today is a pretty, and this is just my opinion, pretty appalling picture of pop star and pop singer Lizzo and an Instagram posting that she gave several days ago, I believe, where she's posing in a stringed bikini and pardon the language, but it's reality, thong panties, and then she's posing in this video, in this Instagram video. I saw it, okay, and then she's saying this body is a work of art. This is what she said about how she looked. Now, before I go into any details about this, I'm about to read this article, and you guys will hear what she has to say about this. I'm all about loving yourself. I'm all about loving yourself. But when you promote something such as obesity as if it's normal, as if it's right, then far as I'm concerned, you are a victim of communist influence. Now you may be asking, what do I mean by that? I'm going to give you that after I read this article. So let's get right into this article. You are a tool that they're using. But let's get right into this article. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, 2020 campaigner and pop singer Lizzo, appeared to celebrate obesity in an Instagram video over the weekend and declared her body to be a work of, quote, art. Wearing a bikini, the 34-year-old singer scolded her body shamers and critics of her physique, including those who feel she had lost too much weight, allegedly betraying the body positivity movement. Now, here we go with another one of these movements. All these movements, right? Body positivity movement. By positivity, what do you mean? Okay. Is that positive? Is it positive to promote obesity? It is not. But we've been brainwashed into believing it is. I'm gonna get into the detail of that. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna quote the information to you and show you physically. The article she goes on, here's what Lizzo says. She says, the discourse around bodies is officially tired, she began. I have seen comments go from, oh my gosh, I liked you when you were thick. Why did you lose weight? To, oh my gosh, why did you get a BBL, Brazilian butt lift? I liked your body before. To, oh my gosh, you're so big. Lizzo called those comments delusional and referred to her body as a work of, quote, art. Are you okay? Do you see the delusion? She asks. Do we realize that artists are not here to fit into your beauty standards? Artists are here to make art, and this body is art. But is that really art, Lizzo? Art is creating something. We're going to go on. 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 It's creating something, but is that really art? You have to ask yourself that question. Anyway, let's go on. Lizzo further stressed that she will do, quote, whatever I want with this body, while urging people to stop wasting time criticizing her body image. And that's true. Look, it's her body. She can do whatever she want to do with her body. That's not the issue here. And that's not the reason why I'm doing this video. I'm not doing this video because I'm attacking her as a person, because personally, I believe that she's being used. She's a victim of the manipulators behind the scenes. So I'm not doing this video to attack her as a person. I'm doing this video to attack what image she's pushing. Because the people that mostly listen to her music ain't no super mature adults. It's hard to believe any real adult would listen to any of that stuff. For the most part, okay? You may have some, but for the most part, people in their 40s and 50s on up, I say 40s and 50s, or if I put it to you like this, 30s, 40s, and 50s. I leave it like that because people in their 20s don't seem to be all that mature nowadays. But anyway, it's another story. What I'm attacking is the imagery that she's pushing, because this kind of imagery affects and influences young teenagers. And I'm going to give you the details of that later on. That's the problem. And in this article, you will see it, like I said in the introduction of this video, there's a picture of her posing with this bikini on, a string bikini and thong panties, it looked like. And the imagery is not appealing. It's not attractive, in my opinion. Everybody's taste is different, but it is not attractive whatsoever, in my opinion. Okay? This is really nasty to me. In another social media post over the weekend, Lizzo also tore into, quote, cancel culture for appropriating real outrage from marginalized groups. Here we go with the marginalized groups concept. What is a marginalized group, really? Why do we have all these so-called marginalized groups? I'll submit this to you before I go any further. We have these marginalized groups because they've been created that way. We have been large in part divided as American citizens on purpose, and it started in intensity in the 1960s so-called countercultural revolution, which was a planned event. Let's go on. This may be a random time to say this, but it's on my heart. Cancel culture is appropriation. There was real outrage from truly marginalized people, and now it's become trendy, misused, and misdirected. I hope we can phase out of this and focus our outrage on the real problems, she tweeted. What is these real problems? Lizzo's praise of her body follows an interview she gave in March, declaring herself, quote, a body icon and a champion of the body positivity movement. It may not be one person's ideal body type, just like, say, Kim Kardashian might not be someone's ideal, but she's a body icon and has created a modern day beauty standard. And what I'm doing is stepping into my confidence and my power to create my own beauty standard. And one day that would just, and get this is the part you got to pay attention to. And one day that will just be the standard, she told people. And one day that will just be the standard. Oh, really? So being obese, grossly obese, will be the standard? Is that positive? Is that what young people need? That's the end of that article right there. Is that what any American needs? To walk around obese and saying this is positive? Let me say this. I said it before, I say it again. We should love ourselves. You should love yourself. Okay, having self-love is a good thing because you cannot love someone else if you don't first love yourself. Now, as a Christian, I base the whole reality of love on a biblical love, which is the greatest form of love. And Jesus said, love your neighbors as you love yourself. Now, what does that imply? It clearly implies that your neighbor is anyone. Your neighbor is not your next door person next door. No, neighbor, what Jesus meant by neighbor in the time he said what he said, was anyone you come in contact with. You're to love them like you love yourself. Now, how do you love yourself? You love yourself by first cherishing yourself, taking care of yourself, feeding yourself. That's what he meant by that. But in order for you, but the implication of that word, that verse, is that in order for you to love your neighbor, you got to first love yourself. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. The same concept is taught in Ephesians, the 5th chapter, when the Apostle Paul told husbands to love your wives as you love yourself. A husband can't love his wife if he don't love himself. So what is it? So the idea of loving yourself, I'm in support of. Lizzo should love herself. But the imagery that she is promoting, which is this obesity imagery and talking about positivity, is not positive. She is the one delusional. She is the one who has been tricked by the communists and the communist supporters who have taken over the movie industry, entertainment industry, politics, religion. When I say religion, I mean, I'm talking about the colleges and seminaries. Okay? And education. They have infiltrated, I always say this because it's reality. They have infiltrated these institutions and they're destroying us from within. Now, this comes to my point about this whole idea where she said her body is art, a work of art. But yet she's obese. Do you not know that obesity, and I know some of you already know this, obesity is one of the number one problems in America today. And in fact, there's more obese people in America than in any other country. And one of the main reasons for that is because we are so infatuated with consumerism. We consume everything. We buy everything. Let me have this. Let me have this. Let me get this. Let me buy this. We don't need it. We just want it. Let me eat this. Let me eat that. It doesn't matter how big I get. It doesn't matter what. We on one of the two extremes. We either eating too much or we don't eat enough. So we become anorexic. We so skinny when we think we obese, but when in reality our mind is so messed up, and the elites got us so messed up psychologically that we think we overweight when we weigh about 5 or 10 pounds. You see how they're manipulating us? And Lizzo is a tool of the elites. I feel bad for her by saying that I'm promoting a work of art, when in reality, when you look at that, that is not a work of art. Now, what am I trying to get to? I'm trying to get to the aspect of the fact that we are being manipulated. I'm going to keep saying this as long as I can. We're being manipulated, and I feel it's time for Americans to wake up and stop being manipulated. Now, I bought a book some time ago. I talked about this in a previous video, but I didn't actually have the book. There was a book written in 1961 called The Naked Communist. It was written by a former FBI agent. And then he basically investigated a lot of the communist groups and communist organizations that had infiltrated American politics and institutions in the early 1950s, really, because it goes back many, many decades. And he discovered something quite frightening, really. And he listed 45 communist goals that these communist insurgents had created in order to destroy America from within, not with guns, from within, to corrupt us from within. And that a large extent of the 45 communist goals have been fulfilled. Now, here's the book right here. I decided to buy it, The Naked Communist. That's the man's name right down there, as you can see, W. Cleon Skousen. Okay, The Naked Communist. If you don't have this book, I highly recommend you buy it. This is a revised version. So the book has been revised and enlarged, I think, 8 times. This is the 2017 revision. Okay, so there's a little bit more added to it, but it does give a section on the 45 communist goals. Now, in reference to Lizzo promoting obesity as a work of art, let me read you one of the communist goals. I find it interesting that one of the communist goals seems to be applicable to what she's promoting. This is communist goal number 23, which says, control art critics and directors of art museums. Our plan is to promote ugliness, repulsive, meaningless art. This is way back in 1961, man. This is not made up. You can't make this stuff up. This is goal 23. Control art critics and directors of art museums. Our plan is to promote ugliness, repulsive, meaningless art. Let me read you the other one. Let me read you goal number 25. Break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. Break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography. This is back in 1961. You talking about pornography in 1961? Oh, that was pornography back then. It was just still underground. But see, the communists used that. What's the goal? To break down the resistance of the American people, to weaken us, as one of the communist infiltrators said, to weaken the American public. When you're weak morally, when you're weak psychologically, when you're weak mentally, it's easier to control and manipulate you and put in your brain information and so-called knowledge that will push you towards the global one world socialist government they want. Lizzo may be sincere, but she is a useful idiot of the communist insurgents. I say useful idiot by quotation. It's not my word. It's former communist Lenin's words in a book he wrote, where he said that these people who want to, these idealistic people in the Russian government who wanted to help the communist movement had no idea what communism was really all about. And he called these people useful idiots. Why? Because In their idealism, you could use them, the communist insurgents could use them to promote their agenda. Once their agenda is completed and finished, they get rid of them. Lizzo, in my opinion, is one of those individuals. Love yourself. Love yourself. I'm a total supporter of loving yourself. But one of the ways in which you love yourself is when you see something unhealthy, you don't do it. You try not to do it. Now, I said this earlier, and I'm gonna bring this back. Let me bring it back all back around. This imagery that she's promoting, this obese imagery that she's promoting and calling it a work of art, has negative effects on mostly younger people. Why do I say that? Because the other day when I was at work, as I told them, I do security at Tower City and bike patrol. I'm outside, so I see a lot outside as well as inside. This one woman, I don't know if she must have thought she was Lizzo with clothes on. You say, wait a minute, that's kind of harsh. No, it isn't. Because this woman she was pretty heavy. Pretty heavy. But this part of her stomach, the shirt was up here. And this part of her stomach was completely bare. And it was hanging out, and it was so repulsive, I had to look away. And I was looking at other people, looking at her, and and many of these people had a frown on their face, but they didn't want to really express it because, that's politically incorrect. You don't want to express how much you are repulsed by what you see. Now, when I say repulsed by what you see, I'm not talking about jumping on that young girl and say, you're a nobody, No. We're all made in the image of God, and God loves us all, and I love all people. But you're being hoodwinked. You're being bamboozled. You're being led astray, like Malcolm X said. Okay? When you're walking around here looking like that, it makes me think that she probably got that imagery from Lizzo. And Lizzo is getting this idea, in my opinion, from the communists who have infiltrated our country and are fulfilling their goal. Goal number 23 was what I said. What was it? Goal number 23. Isn't what I said? Isn't what I said? Oh, yeah. Goal number 23. Our plan is to promote ugliness, repulsive, meaningless art. She calls that art. But according to the communists, that's repulsive, meaningless art. Why do they promote that? To weaken the people. To weaken your conscience. To weaken your resistance against their agenda. That's why. It's time for Americans to wake up, man. It's time for Americans to wake up. And I pray for Lizzo that she will wake up and see that what she's promoting is not healthy at all. Love yourself, but promoting an unhealthy obesity concept is wrong, in my opinion. And it's unhealthy. That's what I had to say about that. But what do you guys think about this? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. God bless you all, and see you again.